Shall be interesting because I haven't done this in a while. Welcome to my channel. All right, let's see how this. Ooh, surprise! Okay, let's try here. I gotta put you somewhere. All right, that fell off, so we're not gonna do that. It's okay. But while we're at it, how are you today? Welcome to my channel. My name is Lana Labonte, and I'm here to uplift, support, inspire, and hopefully empower you to be the best version of you you're meant to be. Because I activate the supreme power within you to raise the vibe so that you can rise in love and reign in your life. So welcome, welcome, welcome. It's been a while. And to see what happens, because when you haven't done this for a while, you got to kind of play with it because they keep changing settings, and sometimes it's upside down, sometimes it's turned around, sometimes it's panorama or landscape or this way, vertical, diagonal. Hey, all right, let's get to it. So today I am here because we're here to open Pandora's box. Where did that come from? Pandora's box. Does anybody know the story of Pandora's box and how everybody was warned about don't open Pandora's box? What does that mean if you don't want to open Pandora's box? What is the significance of Pandora's box? I would gather to say, for any of you out there, the fear of the chaos that Pandora's box would cause, create, or bring by opening it. But what if opening Pandora's box was the trick? To convince you not to touch it, because if you did, it actually would bring things back into balance. What if Pandora's box is where everyone's power was hidden from them? What if Pandora's box being opened threatened those who had overridden to control, to conceal the power that you hold within you? So what if Pandora's box was the secret key to you unlocking your mystery, to recognize your special sauce, the wisdom that you hold within you, the frequencies, frequent keys, the energy that you emanate. And you're here to also share, because the gift of you is the shift the world needs. Think about that. Have you ever considered that you stepping into your personal power, you stepping into the gift of you is the shift that the world needs? What if you withhold yourself and your gifts? What if the world never shifts? What if today you opened up Pandora's box and reclaimed the power within you instead of allowing the external forces to control you? Hello, Cheryl, darling. Before we continue, if you would be so kind to please like, share, whatever you can do to spread the magic, sprinkle a little fairy dust, because we need to get the message out, especially for us women, because we're here to have fun and to play. And I think we lost ourselves along the way, because all of this noise and distraction all around us is all about keeping us in the confusion. If you don't step into your power, someone else will exert it over you and steal and loose it from you for their own benefit, for their own agenda. Haven't we seen enough of that throughout the world? That there are more of us than there are of them, whoever they may be, because you hear the reference of they. I don't even want to use the ELITE word, L-ite. There's a lot you can, you know what? Words, spellcasting, the Babylonian black magic sorcery that has been tricked and played upon the beautiful people of the world. Men and women divided. Come on, really? We're here to work together. People don't even know their neighbors anymore. They're afraid to trust because they've been told not to. Why would you believe somebody else to tell you what you can and cannot do, or to trust your own get into it, your intuition, the into me I see. That's where all of the power resides, as well as the trust you need to have within you. When we outsource our power, right? Let somebody else give you a script or prescribe a role so that you can put on a mask and be part of their show, being an extra instead of the star of your own. The more we're willing to step into our personal, there ain't no stopping us. And believe it or not, it's an act of rebellion to step into your creativity, to give your gifts instead of hold on to them and hoard them or be afraid of them. Every one of us has a gift to share, and it's up to us to shift. And the best way to shift the world is to step into and share our gift. If we're fearful of it, if we're afraid of judgment because of it, then that in itself is the looshing of our harvesting of our energy. The system is designed to suck the life out of us, like a parasite. We're hosting, this sounds kind of nasty, but we're hosting a lot of parasites. A lot of them are really stuck up in our minds. The 𝐕𝐤𝐴𝐻𝐿 mind virus, right? It feeds off of our fear. It feeds off of our worth or self-worth, or our discipline or not discipline, our need to be liked, accepted, because we're all afraid of being cast out. Spell casting. Think about these words, for example. With the stories you tell, you cast a spell. Now take that word cast again, because alliteration, whether it's spelled one way or the other, means something different. So you have to be really discerning, because the spell cast is in the duplicity of the languaging, the words. Cast, C-A-S-T, like, and I've talked about this in the past. When they cast it out there, they're fishing, they're casting, they're spell casting upon you. Are you going to take the hook and the bait where they pull you in, suck you in? Or are you afraid? Because the thing is if you take the hook of their spells that they cast, then you yourself are really you're revealing your fear of being cast out of society, C-A-S-T-E. I mean, we are here for community. Humans are meant to work together. Humans in unity equals humanity. Men, women, children, all of us are meant to work together collaboratively. To raise the vibe, we all have to come around to one another and recognize we all have something in common. It's life, liberty, the pursuit of fun, joy, and play in every single way. That when we lift up another, we lift up ourselves. We raise each other rather than someone down and pulling ourselves down at the same time. If you feel the need to put someone down to raise yourself up, that's a weakness. The true strength is the courage and the discipline to recognize someone else being raised up actually raises you up too. It's a win-win situation. In fact, all of life can be win-win. But the influences and the powers of suggestion and the spellcasters of the Babylonian world need us to be disempowered. When we dis our power, they win. They feed. The parasite gets fed like the happy bloated whale, and it continues to rule. And isn't that ironic? That word rule too. The rulers created the rules. Just like to have authority, you have to author it. When you start breaking down the words, you start to see the symbolism, the spells that were cast, and we have to be so discerning in the languaging, because language, it's not even the language we created. It's a language that was imposed upon us. The most important language is energy, vibration, and frequency. They're all one and the same. And we are all part of the whole. So we are all energy, vibration, frequency. We are the frequent keys here to unlock each other's codes, right? If you know, like how cogs and wheels work, we need each other to move one another. So when you think in terms of unity, coming together, working together, and having that mutual support. When I raise you up, I raise myself up. And it's also infectious in a healthy way. Instead of putting people down and keeping everyone down like the crabs trying to climb out of the boiling pot where the others pull it down. We know that misery loves company, but so does joy and fun and play. So this is really the key. It's actually the secret sauce that's not so secret that people have forgotten all along the way. Because when you were a kid, I know me, when I was a little girl and our parents would call us in, it'd be like, I don't want to go inside. I want to play. And I can't wait to become an adult, because when I become an adult, I'm going to determine when I stop playing. And then somewhere along the way, we went to schools, indoctrination camps, where they injected us with this idea that we needed to follow along to get along. And that didn't really foster or nourish our gifts. It tried to standardize and create followers, not creators, consumers, not entrepreneurs. And each and every one of us has a special gift, and we all learn differently. So it's just like the fish out of water. You can't expect it to be able to walk on land if it's used to fishing in the water. We have to be more accommodating and also have grace and humility for our own learning ability and others. We may be visual, we may be auditory. Some things would come across to us easier if we are in a space of nourishment and fun and joy. Like making it fun to learn is how you get someone to learn with enthusiasm, because it becomes embodied. Whereas when it's something that's exhausting and it doesn't align, the body's already rejecting it because of that sensation that I don't want to do this. I mean, we do have to a certain degree, have a little discomfort to rewire and create new neural pathways. When we learn something new, there's always a learning curve. There's always going to be a growing pain in life, but it can still be fun at the same time. Yes, you can get frustrated, but you can also step back and go, I see what happened just now. I got frustrated because I don't know. And then you can pull yourself back into that space of recognizing, okay, I'm only frustrated because I haven't mastered this yet. But repetition is the key to mastery. And in order to master something, you have to keep doing it, practicing it. Practice doesn't make perfection, it makes progress. And we're here to progress in life, not to regress in life. And so, with that said, some of the things that have been coming through, I mean, we're coming through this Mercury retrograde. I know everybody's like, it's not even uncommon for people to go, is Mercury in retrograde or something? Like, things aren't working. I'm feeling like stuck, like energetically. You don't even have to know about astrology, and chances are you're going to know something's off, that you don't feel quite right. But all these things that get churned up during this time, the energies that are shifting in us, around us, between us, through us, because we are the energy. We are affecting our reality, and our reality is affecting us, and it's this whole collective collaboration. We're never doing this alone. Even when you think you're alone, you're never alone. The energy is always with you. We are always with each other. But it's more obvious to us when we have another to mirror back to us where we're at, as opposed to trying to figure it out all by ourselves. And if you haven't figured it out by this time in your life, we're not here to do it all alone. If anything, that's how the system wants us to think. It wants us to think we don't need each other, that we should be dependent upon it. Whatever it is not us. But we did create it too, so we have to take a little personal accountability and responsibility for being a part of it, even going along with it. And now it's time for us to reanalyze, to reflect. How has it served us or not served us, and what needs to be changed within us? Because the real change happens within us before the change happens outside of us. Everything that you want to align to has to start from within you. It's alignment, not luck. And the reality is this, and this is why I named this Pandora's box. Why? Because Pandora got a bad rap. Just like the feminine was demoralized, humiliated, and tossed aside, and continues to have to try to make an impact to bring us all back to balance and harmony. I want to see the masculine and the feminine back in balance. It's up to us to do it. Instead of playing into these little games of this one against that one, this group, that group. Divide and conquer is the oldest book. Divide and conquer is the oldest trick in the book. And people are still falling for it. Stopping the scrolling and the dooming and the glooming, like all of the social media. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff we hear about, but what is going on in your own life around you? Can you find the things that are working? Can you see where you're getting along with someone and where you're not? And what is really being churned up from within you that's reflecting all around you? Because as we say, where energy goes, attention follows, or where attention goes, energy follows. And where attention goes, energy will flow. Because what happens is where our mind is at, conscious or unconscious, it tends to show up all around us. So when you recognize something outside of yourself, whether it's a trigger, whether it supports you or upsets you, whether it reinforces or makes you feel like, I feel like I just got hit with, like a lead weight or something. It's always there to kind of get you to course correct in one way or the other. Ooh, this feels good, go in that direction. This doesn't feel so good, maybe I need to step back and pause and reflect. Recognize, is this coming from the past or is this going toward my future? Is this going to support me? Is it going to empower me or disempower me? If triggers didn't happen, you wouldn't know where your work is to focus and do. What triggers you is meant for you to course correct. Because if it didn't affect you, that means there's nothing to do with it. So you can get upset at something and you have to look at it and go, why did that affect me that way? Why did I get aggravated or irritated with that situation? Because there's something unresolved. And that trigger is linked to an old trauma or unresolved childhood need that wasn't met, or some story. There's a story behind it all. The trigger is just the indicator. There's something over here for you to look at. And when you're willing to look at the trigger, like, don't be afraid of it, because that trigger's there for you. It's meant for you. It's a gift without a bow that says, you see me? I need to be seen. In order to clear it, you have to confront it. You have to reflect upon it. You have to be willing to recognize it's there for you. It's not working against you. It's always working for you. Showing up to you to see if you're recognizing where you maybe have abandoned your little inner child and have neglected yourself in the moment. It's too easy to point fingers out, but again, loaded gun, you got three fingers pointing back at you. That's past, present, future, been there, done that, or maybe gonna do it. You can't spot it unless you got it. And it's always revealing what it is that you need to address. In the past, I used to say you got to feel it to heal it. I've since evolved on that one. You've got to feel it to reveal it. And healing, you're not broken. So stop trying to fix something that just needs to be brought back together as wholeness. Because where we're at in the world, We've been doing way too much. I've got to heal. Hiding in these little circles of, oh, I'm broken. But never even saying that you're broken. Just the fact that you say, I'm working on healing, is like saying something's wrong with you. And we need to change. We need to reframe what we say and how we say it. Because again, you're casting a spell upon yourself with the story you tell. And do you want people to think you're broken? I certainly don't. In fact, if anything, you want to call back all those pieces of yourself that make you whole again. Because we're working toward wholeness. And to have unity, we have to bring community, the people, back together. Remember is to bring the members back into place, because we are all, like I said, frequent keys, unlocking each other's codes. Have you ever noticed you meet someone and it's almost like instantly you click? Because they've got a frequency that unlocks your keys. And it lights you up. You know, when they light you up, that's a good sign. If they don't, well, guess what? You're getting the signs and the signals from internal, which is your GPS. And that's the moment you should go, oh, look, my intuition is working. Because it's somatic. It's an embodiment. What you feel is real. And if you're willing to feel, it will be revealed. It's simpler than this hide behind a healing Band-Aid. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. We're doing too much sometimes. Maybe you just need to be. If you can just be, buzz, buzz, buzz. There's peace, there's harmony in the nature of a bee. The hum of the universe creates the sweet nectar and the honey that brings us back into the sweetness of life. So we have to remove that rear view mirror. This is my favorite new one. I told my sister this the other day, and she's like, oh, I really like that. That says a lot for her to say that, by the way. Some months ago, there was a point where I recognized, oh my gosh, you know what? I can't keep doing this. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. You keep looking in the rearview mirror. If you're driving a car and you're staring at the rearview mirror, you tell me. You tell me. Tell me in the comments. What do you see? What's in your rearview mirror that you can't keep your eyes off of? Because when we're staring at the rearview mirror, we're missing opportunities that are right in front of our face. Staring in the rearview mirror also opens up more opportunities for accidents, missed opportunities, and tripping up, because we can't be fully present if we're stuck looking behind us. You can't move forward effectively if you're looking behind you. You can't be two places at once. Trying to look in the rearview mirror and look forward at the same time. Now, listen, some of us are great multitaskers, but we're really not, if you know what I mean. You can do a lot of things, but how present are you when you're doing those things? If you're trying to do too many things across the board, it may appear that you're a great multitasker. You're not AI. But the reality is you trying to multitask means that in some area you have the possibility of missing an opportunity, making an error in judgment, having an accident. There's all sorts of like slip-ups that happen when we're not present and fully engaged in one thing at a time. And this is also part of the intuitive sense that we have to be willing to recognize our intuition's always telling us when we're not being fully present. Our body's already indicating where we're off kilter. Great example, some months ago, I had cut my finger. Now normally, and I'm gonna share this story because years ago, I remember the first time I cut my finger and I was really working on this presence principle. And I had to stop and go, okay, so how did I cut my finger while I was cutting the food? Where was my mind at the time? I had to be honest with myself and wow, I was actually having a thought about somebody and comparing myself, because this is what judgment is. Most people aren't going to acknowledge judgment is comparing yourself. It always is. When you're judging another, it's because you're comparing yourself to them. Oh, I can't understand why that person would do that. I could never do that. That judgment being placed on them also comes back on you like a boomerang. So anytime we make a judgment on someone else for whatever reason, doesn't even matter why, it's irrelevant. That judgment comes back on us and we tend to harm ourselves because that's an indicator that you're breaking your own heart by judging another, by comparing yourself to them. Because what is the judgment? It is either bringing someone up, we're either praising them and elevating them, we're celebrating them. I don't mean praise in like a worshiping. I'm not talking about false idolatry. I'm talking about congratulations, celebrate your wins, all of that. Or, because you can only go up or down. Your comparison could be bringing them down, judging them in a way that makes you feel better. Or it could be raising them up in your mind, like, oh my gosh, I'm really celebrating that individual. I'm so happy for them. I want to be happy for people. Because if I'm happy for them, it's because I know that's capable for me. If someone else is happy, then I can be happy because that's the infectiousness of joy just as much. And it's beautiful. The more we celebrate the joy, the more joy that attracts to us. And you stay in that frequency. You want to keep that vibration high. So when I recognized I was comparing myself and judging another, in that moment I went, oh wow, I'm going to pay more attention. And I continually started to do that. So then I was in the shower one time and I was using the loofah on my foot. I accidentally scratched it across my finger, my knuckle, and it scratched off some skin. And I was like, oh gosh, now what was I thinking about? Again, I had to evaluate my thoughts. Because the more we evaluate our thoughts, we can actually confront them and ask, are these true? Are they real? Are they relevant? Are they empowering? Are they helpful? Are they serving? Because a lot of times the thoughts that go through your head are just noise. They're not even your own voice. It's a voice that maybe was disempowering you growing up. Maybe it's a voice of someone who didn't celebrate you, and so you didn't learn to celebrate others. Or maybe you're still working through that and you're still confronting that voice, because we have to continually confront the mind in order to master it, because the mind will try to master you if you let it get out of control, the monkey mind. And so back in, I think it was right before was it the May 1st or May 2nd full moon, I was in the kitchen and I cut my finger. And in this situation, when I cut my finger, I mean, I sliced across the top. I have ceramic knives, so it was a clean cut. And I couldn't believe I cut it as bad as I did. So I immediately put pressure on it. And I stopped for a moment. And this was one of those moments where I really wasn't judging anyone. I thought, oh, wow, where was I, my mind? What just happened? I went and I found a Band-Aid and I kept pressure on it. The following day, I couldn't really find any reason why I would have cut myself based on my thoughts at the time. And some months ago, I was trying to find the key chain that my mother had given me, a mustard seed, because my mother used to remind me to have the faith of a mustard seed. That next day, I went looking for the dragon's blood to put on my finger to be able to help heal it a little quicker. And when I reached in the drawer that I thought it was in and expected to grab a bottle, I actually pulled out that keychain. And I had looked profusely throughout my house thinking, oh, where's that keychain? I'm pretty sure it's here somewhere. This was like almost a year ago when I first was remembering that I know it's here in the house, but I don't know where exactly it is. What did I do with that? That was the question I had. Sure enough, that was when I was meant to find it. And almost from that point forward, it was like game on, forward momentum. I find it very fascinating. If you can remember and recognize at the different points in your life when certain things occur, you'll notice where shifts and changes are guiding you to where you're meant to go and be and do. So with that said, my mother's passing, and I say this with a celebratory loving my mom. 8 years ago on July 8th was her passing day. And when I think of my mother, I think of the woman who really, truly inspired me to be me and knew me and my heart better than anybody else could. She was my best friend. This right here is me and my mom when I was a senior in high school. She was a special woman, and she's been showing up to me so much this year, so much so this morning she showed up to remind me how much God loves me, and also how much I honored how much she loved me, herself. It was so surreal and so real that I could feel myself hugging her and telling her how much I loved her and how she was my best friend. And how, for me, finding a partner that loved me as much as she loved me is extremely important to me. And that revealed to me, even this morning when I woke up, I was thinking, wow, that's an interesting way to put it into perspective. That my mother taught me how to honor myself by the way she loved me. Not overly. She wasn't the type of mother that would punish unless it was something that me and my sisters did to each other. We didn't get in trouble for stupid stuff. In fact, she only probably grounded me like once when I was in high school, maybe twice. That was my stepdad more so than anything, the second time. But the first time she grounded me was actually around the time a dear, sweet young man that I was in love with at the time, my sophomore year in high school. He had committed suicide. So that was a little bit of a, I've had some interesting experiences in my life and profound, powerful losses that have also taught me how much to appreciate love and to appreciate not only love, but life. And when you do love somebody, to tell them, which is why when I was in my dream hugging my mother, I just kept saying how much I loved her. Because I feel like I never said it enough, even though I did say it all the time. I don't think we could ever express it enough. And that in this world, we really are here to have fun and to play. And the seriousness, all this seriousness is not what we came here for. Like, I don't know about anybody else, but having to pay to live on a planet like you had a choice when you came into the matter seems a little absurd to me. I'll just place that there. And the other day I got the message in my practice, stop being afraid of your shadow. Guess what, people? The shadow is the other half of our light. Yin and yang, black and white. Hello, people. Two halves of the whole. It's all contrast. When we're out of balance, one shows up more than the other. It's just showing the imbalances. But that shadow needs the illumination of the light to recognize that it's contributing just as much as the light. Because the light can't shine without the shadow behind it, and vice versa. Like, it is literally the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine. You know that the womb, technically, when you see a yin yang, right? I'll even say the 69 too, because that's symbolic in itself. Yin and yang is masculine, feminine, plus and minus, positive, negative. The two halves of the whole. In order for us to be whole, we have to also embrace our shadow. That shadow's got some things to teach us too. Just like the hero and the villain. One is actually elevating the other. If it wasn't for the villain, the hero wouldn't even exist. How's that sound? We're living in really magical times, people. I know there's craziness out there, and it's okay. That craziness is meant to remind you what's important to you, what's important to us. Collectively, the only way we're ever going to grow and evolve is with the discomfort. What does discomfort do for you? Think about this. It's a gift. Diamonds don't form just by lying around saying, hey, I'm a diamond, here I am. It had to start out as coal. It had to have a whole lot of pressure. And other things like that too in nature prove that without the pressure, you can't grow, you can't strengthen, you can't flap your wings like the butterfly, that if you even try to interfere with the butterfly emerging, when it emerges from its cocoon, That is the beginning of it going through its own discomfort to strengthen those wings so that it can fly. We all go through growing pains. And the other day I was saying to a friend, I said, you know, all this discomfort I'm feeling, I have to remind myself. And I had forgotten, and I remember, and then I forget, and then I remind myself again. Oh, that's right. We're going through growing pains again. We're all going through growing pains. Don't think that just because you're an adult, you're not going to go through more growing pains. In fact, you can stay forever young if you're willing to make the fun within that growing pain. Like, make it fun, make it joyful. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, this feels crappy. Guess what? It's priming you. It's a primer. You hear about, like, Tony Robbins will say, you got to prime yourself into the state. You got to feel like you're that successful person on the other end. You got to project yourself as the person that you want to be. You have to actually get in the state as if you are already it and prime yourself. Same situation. You want to be successful, you got to act like you're successful. You got to start behaving like the individual you want to be. Again, you got to be before you see yourself as it. You have to have the vision and hook, line, and pull it into your body. You have to embody it. And then with the embodiment, you can be it. It is a full body experience. This is what life is. And then that wraps around into how so many people will numb the pain, not realizing it's the same as the joy. It's just a different label that you give it. You can't have pain without pleasure and pleasure without pain. There's a reason why they call orgasms le petit mort. It means a little death, because it is a death. And there's pain and destruction in that construction. So when one thing is being born, it's coming out of something else that had to have died. When you are being renewed and you're coming from a space of like, I'm no longer that same person I was the other day or a year ago or whatever. No, you have to also mourn that. You have to honor the whole change and death of life. We go through many deaths all our lives. Throughout the course of our life, we are evolving and growing. We have growing pains. So then we have these petite mers. We come into this, this elation. And then we have to come right back down. And then people freak out because they're like, oh, I had the high. Now I'm going to chase it again because I'm in the low. But the pain receptor is the same as the pleasure receptor in the body. So when you numb the pain, you numb the joy. And if you take any type of drug that is a pain medication, you're also numbing the pleasure. So there's so many people out there going, I can't orgasm, I can't get whatever. I look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I taking anything that might be inhibiting my own sense of feeling? Because again, we're here to feel it all, people. We're not here to numb it out. When we numb the pain, we numb the joy. When we numb our emotions or ignore them, they don't go away. Just like anything, they will reveal themselves in some other way. So for example, unresolved traumas will show up continually to challenge you until you address them. Why does this keep happening? Like when someone starts talking that language, why does this always happen to me? Oh, I've been there. I was that woman. That person did that to me. Did they? Where was my energy? What was unresolved? Because the inner child, when it feels negated, when it feels neglected, when it wants attention, it will call in energetically the same situation from the past for you to work through it in that moment. But most people will see that as being done to them, like they're the victim of their circumstances. You're never the victim of your circumstances. More than anything, you're the victim of your ignorance. Because when you try to ignore it, it will come back. Always does, in some way, shape, or form. So with that said, what if you knew that your path and your purpose unlock the keys for all of humanity to rise in love and to raise the vibe and elevate consciousness? What if your gift was the thing that made the shift in the world? What if Pandora's box was just you opening it up, reclaiming that power, and going out back into the world and being the best version of yourself that you can be? Because each one of us that's withholding something from the world is the reason why we're in the mess we're in. Whatever you see, what you think isn't working in the world and in your life is really the result of you not aligning with your soul. And so it's funny, I heard this the other day, SOL, right? Shit out of luck. Well, what is SOL? It's also soul, like the sun. So if you're shit out of luck, it's all about putting you back into your soul. Think about it. You have to start spelling it better. It's not SOL, it's SOUL. Put you back in your soul. Come back into alignment. Recognize that you have more power than you give yourself credit for. And so, my birthday is August 1st. And I've been through a lot. I'm not going to go through all of it on the phone, on this call, this video. I'm just going to say this. I've been humbled. I think everybody gets humbled at some point in their life, but sometimes I wonder, really? That much, huh? I thought I surrendered enough. Hence why I needed to find the keychain, by the way. Have the faith of a mustard seed. Learn to trust yourself. Trust your intuition. Trust your body. Your body is your GPS. It is always going to indicate when something is out of alignment. Kinesiology, it'll tell you your yes, and it will tell you your no. It's up to you to recognize which way to go. So listen to the body when it says yes or no, and then it will guide you which way to go. Your yes should be a fuck yes. Your no should be a fuck no. Excuse my French. Oui, oui, mon frère. If it isn't, don't feel obligated to answer. I think too often we feel obliged to provide too many answers as if they're urgencies, but they're not. The biggest urgency is to be true to yourself, to ensure that you're being true to your inner child, to your soul and your path and your purpose. That to make the shift in this world, you need to show up with your gift. August 1st. If you are in the Clearwater, Florida area, come and join me for a rebirthing a new you, to release the garbage, so you can lighten up and open up that space for the new. Because we can't bring something new in until we get rid of something that needs to go. And I really felt like this was the perfect timing, because none of us should be afraid of our shadow. And no one should ever dictate your present or your future, because you are the present. You are the gift of the now. You are the one that has to be here in the now to present your gift to the world. Reclaim your power. Keep your eyes forward. Remove that rearview mirror, because that is going to only keep you stuck, lagging, and create obstacles, miss opportunities that are right in front of you. Again, if this resonates with you, please like, share, subscribe. Remember, click that little bell at the bottom, wherever that is, all those things. And if you want to learn more, QBA at QBAministry.com. We're working on it. The ministry is for the ladies. It's for sisters who want to shine and want to rise in love and reign in life. From my heart to yours, let's call back our magic. We're here for the miracles, because we are a miracle. We are the source, the resource from source. Anyway, my love.